Good afternoon, everybody. I'm weather and radar meteorologist Becca Parker. We are going over the Sierra Nevada Snowfall event today, which is happening today through the rest of this weekend, actually through Sunday morning. And what you're looking at behind me right now, this is basically what you're going to be seeing, if not more snow, across the Sierra Nevada, where travel is going to be treacherous over the next several days. And we're really going to be monitoring a lot of dangerous conditions over the next couple of days. We're going to go over exactly what that means. This was from the last atmospheric river event that hit California, brought a lot of snow to the Sierra Nevada. So expect to see similar, if not actually less activity on the roadways, because a lot of roadways we're expecting are to be closed because this is a rare historic, not atmospheric river event, but a rare historic snowstorm that's happening across the Sierra Nevada. So let me get into what this looks like. And we're going to go over exactly what we are looking at for today. Let me just switch things up here. Thank you for joining, for anybody who is here on our live today. We are going over the strong snowstorm, rare historic blizzard event happening across the Sierra Nevada starting today and moving into the weekend. It's going to be happening through Sunday morning. And this is what we're going to be going over today for our event. So we're looking at the top hazards that are happening with this storm event that's happening across the Sierra Nevada. We're going to take a look at the forecast, and we're also going to be looking at some app essentials that you can use throughout this event so that you can stay on top of it and have the latest information at your fingertips through the app. And the app is completely for free. So in the description below, you can find your link to download the app if you've not already done so. And it's really easy to use. You can just set your location or set a location that you know somebody who is in this area, maybe traveling to that area this weekend during this event as well. So be sure to have that downloaded. We'll go over a couple of items that you'll be able to see on the app and actually be able to use those tools throughout the event too. So let's get into it here. We're going to talk about our top hazards as we go over this event. So what we're looking at here is the wind radar when I transition over here so I can show you. Perfect. Okay. So those of you who, excuse me, those of you who have been paying attention to this event, which has been very well communicated throughout this last week, we've had blizzard warnings set up by the National Weather Service since earlier this week. So this is a very well communicated event. Those of you who are planning on being out there this weekend into the mountains for skiing, possibly, hopefully postpone, because this is going to be a very dangerous event to even be out traveling in. Travel is going to be basically impossible in the highest peaks. So this is a very serious event, and a lot of people are talking and saying that this might be one of the more historical storms for the 21st century so far that we have seen across the Sierra Nevada. Let me go into a couple of items here when it comes to blizzard warnings in the Sierra Nevada. Why that is rare is the Sierra Nevada often sees gusty winds, heavy snow, especially this time of year when we've got a lot of moisture moving into California. However, we don't see this amount of snow and the amount of winds that we are going to be seeing, the really gusty winds that we're seeing from this event very often. And when I say the amount of snow, let's get into that here. That's part of our top hazards here. The amount of snow that is coming into California, you can see it surging into California here on our wind radar, and I'll show you on the weather radar here as well. Once it pops up, we've got a lot of moisture moving into the Sierra Nevada. Let's zoom in here and see the whole Sierra Nevada spine. What this means is for our top hazards, the heavy snowfall. Let's start at the lower elevations. So the lower elevations, when I say that, I mean 1,000 feet higher and higher. So those of you who are sitting at 1,000 feet and higher, so you're going to be looking at anywhere between 1 and 10 feet. So those of you who are between 1 and 4,000 feet, you can expect up to 4 feet of snow. And those of you who are 5,000 feet and higher, 5 to 10 feet of snow. Think about that on top of the snow that is already there across the Sierra Nevada due to the recent storm events that have happened there. So we've got a lot of snow headed your way. It's already snowing there. It's been snowing there since early this morning. It's going to continue through late Saturday night into early Sunday morning, where we're noting extreme impacts at least through these next 3 days, counting today. 5 to 10 feet of snow. Let that sink in. And what that looks like, that could be, that's covering homes, that's covering buildings, and it's going to make it very, 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 very hard, if not completely impossible, to travel. And those of you who are, who may already have those travel plans out there, please take this seriously. This is that type of event where you do not want to be out, because in addition to it already being dangerous and very well communicated, we already know that it's going to be very dangerous. Emergency personnel isn't going to have an easy time getting around. They're going to have just as hard a time getting around as anybody else, because of the amount of snow coming and the amount of winds coming too, or the gusty winds that are coming with this. When I say gusty winds, we're talking about at least 65 miles per hour in the gusts. 75 miles per hour are possible as well. Those in the higher ridges of the Sierra Ridges are seeing hurricane force 110 mile per hour gusts. This is a serious, serious situation. So it's very good to pay close attention over these next couple of days through the weekend, due to the severity of this event. So this is going to cause whiteout conditions, dangerous travel, and things like that across the Sierra Nevada spine all the way down here. Again, they receive snow all the time, right? Just not at this extent all at once for 3.5 days at a time. 5 to 10 feet of snow, winds gusting at least 65 miles per hour. Those are blizzard conditions. We are seeing with the snowfall as well, what's going to be going on is 3 to 5 inches per hour snow rates. So that's pretty quick. Anybody who's out and about in this does want to make sure that you are either not out long or you just stay indoors for the rest of the weekend. That's going to be pretty dangerous to travel and even walk in. People can become disoriented very quickly because of a whiteout condition when you have those gusty winds and heavy snow rates coming down. So please take this event very seriously. While we go throughout this live, I am taking questions in the comments, so please feel free to drop those in there. And I will also be checking back in the comments later on after the live as well if you have any questions. If you have a question, it's likely someone else has the exact same question. So especially for the severity of this kind of event, so please be sure and ask those questions should you have them. All right, so we've gone over the top hazards of what we've seen so far, and what we plan on seeing. So we've got those really gusty winds. Remember, we got hurricane force winds, 110 mile per hour gusts in the highest peaks of the Sierra Ridges, and at least 65 mile per hour gusts anywhere else across the Sierra Nevada, and 5 to 10 feet of snow. Can't say it enough, 5 to 10 feet of snow on top of what the snow that they already have. Let me double check here to make sure that, let's see. Perfect. All right, so let's talk about the forecast. This is what we're seeing today. Right now we have this low pressure system that is churning here in the Gulf of Alaska. It's a very large low pressure system, and I'll show you on the wind radar so you can see that circulation. Those of you who have your app ready to go, downloaded, you'll be able to pull up the wind radar and follow along with me throughout this. This low pressure system is right up here churning counterclockwise. Let me make sure you can see that. Right on the cursor. Oh, if it's not showing up, that's okay. So let me zoom in here on what that looks like. So we've got the low pressure system. You can see the counterclockwise circulation for these wind streams that are across this area. So counterclockwise circulation. So this is that low pressure that's moving in for the larger system. And we've also got a low pressure that's over here as well. There's also going to be helping this frontal system just move in. And you see we've got plenty of northwesterly flow and westerly flow moving right into the Pacific Northwest and California, pushing in all the moisture that is needed for this event to be occurring. And for those of you who are above freezing, are getting some rainfall, and those of you who are below freezing or in the mountains, obviously, in the colder regions, are getting the heavy snowfall from this event. And what this event is also bringing, even just along the coast here, we have some Pacific Northwest hazards that are happening as well. Gusty winds, in addition to what's already happening with the heavy rainfall and some snow, as well as some heavy wave action happening along the coast here as well. So we could have some coastal flooding happening too, just because you see this wind is just pushing the Pacific Ocean right into the shore. And we're going to have some heavy wave action due to that, those gusty winds that are moving right into the Pacific Northwest. So this is what the wind radar looks like and why we are seeing this storm system kind of move in and out of the Pacific. Is just moving right on in. Let's see and look at the weather radar so we can get a look at the conditions that this low pressure is creating. So we've got heavy rainfall happening in the lower elevations here all along the coast of the Pacific Northwest, as well as into central California down into San Francisco. And this is some heavy rainfall that's happening, but we're not looking at a huge flood event, which is wonderful. However, we are looking at possible puddling in these areas, maybe a little bit of flash flooding in areas that don't drain very well. And this is only due to, you got those heavy rain rates, but you also have these areas that have received a lot of rain in the last several weeks. Most of February has been very active across the western US, especially in California. So areas that may be waterlogged already could have trouble soaking in any more water that is coming down. So that's that heavy rainfall that we've got going on. In the areas where we've got the heavy snowfall, that extends all the way into the northern Rockies, into Idaho up here, and then extends all the way down from the Cascades into the Sierra Nevada range. This snowfall is going to keep on going. So let me show you what the next several days look like. This is today. This is this afternoon in California. This is 2 p.m. this afternoon. So just, you're in your lunchtime right now. This is what to expect over the next several hours. So let's just go ahead and press play here on the weather radar. You can take a look at the next 24 hours of what this looks like. And you can see here, we've got the consistent heavy snowfall happening here across the Sierra Nevada. And when you see these darker colors in the darker pink, that means we have some heavier snowfall rates. Like I said earlier, some of those top hazards, 3 to 5 inches of snow per hour in some areas across the Sierra Nevada spine. Pretty serious conditions. And it's just going to keep on coming because there is plenty of moisture moving in from the Pacific and feeding this storm system. So it's just going to keep on coming. In addition to that, we also have some really cold temperatures happening here. Let me bring up what that looks like here across the area, where we could even see some record temperatures, near record temperatures when it comes to the cold. So let me pull this up here. Perfect. So this is from the forecasting for the possible record temperatures here, the low maximum temperatures. So these areas across the Northern California and very southern portions of Oregon are going to be getting some really cold temperatures, and even close to being record low maximum temperatures for the day. And what I mean by that is it's colder during the day. Record low maximum is a kind of a handful. Means it's colder than usual during the day and could reach record cold for the high temperature of the day. And this goes all the way back to 1964 and even into the Mount Shasta National Forest, 1976. So we're coming close to areas well above 50 years in age when it comes to those records. So we are seeing, some record cold happening here across the area, and that's going to continue for the next several days and even into the beginning of next week. We see these cold temperatures sticking around, and look at that in Idaho. I know it's the mountains too, but 23. Getting into that. And tomorrow's meteorological spring too. So those of you who are looking forward to warmer temperatures, it's going to hold back a little bit. It's the weather. It happens. So we are seeing that record cold happening too. And this cold is what is feeding this storm system as well. That's what's supporting all this heavy snowfall, especially in the higher elevations. So let's go back to what we're going to see as far as snowfall. So this is from the National Weather Service. You see these colors here. We talked about earlier how we have 3 days of extreme impacts. That's the highest on their scale of impacts here. And that is happening across the Sierra Spine. And we have the purple colors here, which are the snowfall totals that are expected through Sunday morning. Some areas receiving up to 96 inches of snow. That's within that 5 to 10 foot range. 96 inches is 8 feet that we are going to be seeing across the area. This is Blue Canyon. And that's getting near Interstate 80 here, near Donner Pass, where higher totals are expected near that 10-foot mark, locally higher amounts as well on top of that. So we are seeing plenty of snow. We've got the extreme impacts happening, and we've got those gusty winds. There's your blizzard warning for the area. Those of you who live in the Sierra Nevada, you get a lot of snow. You get a lot of gusty winds. You likely do have an emergency kit. You likely have an emergency situation plan as well. Just be mindful throughout this event that with the heavy snowfall rates and the gusty winds, it's going to become very disorienting to be out and about in the snow, even just a couple feet away from the front door. That's how serious we're trying to get the word across, because that's going to be pretty difficult to be within that. So let me double check something really quick. Okay. So like I said, we have that blizzard warning, and you can see the warnings here. They stretch across the Sierra spine here. And not to be outdone, we also have the winter storm warnings and winter storm watches that are there too for the areas here in northwestern California. You are getting snow as well. Luckily, not blizzard conditions, but winter storm conditions are still pretty serious across that area. So let's see here. I apologize, my phone keeps going off. There we go. Let's talk about too what we can find in the app for app essentials so that you can stay weather aware and know exactly what's going on. And first, before I go into that real quick, I do want to talk about the severity of the situation that we've been really concerned about, especially since the beginning of this week, as it's been well communicated. The National Weather Service has also tried to communicate as well the information that comes from this storm and how things are going to get pretty serious very quickly. So this is from National Weather Service office in Reno, Nevada, which just is right next to the Sierra Nevadas on the eastern side there. Their bottom line for this event: this winter storm will cause very dangerous and possibly life-threatening conditions starting today and going through the weekend. Travel is not advised, especially in the Sierra Nevada region. Sierra Nevada mountain region. Keep that in mind. If you've got plans this weekend, postpone them. This is a good time to postpone them. Take that into account, because travel is going to be very treacherous across this area. All right. Let us go back to the weather radar. I want to show you some tools that you will be able to use throughout the rest of the storm system. So I showed you the next 24 hours of what that snowfall looks like. We're seeing the forecast that goes all the way through Sunday. So let's take a look at Friday. Storm system just keeps on chugging. We've even gotten a little bit of thunderstorm activity happening along the coast here due to the dynamics of this storm, maybe some thunder snow as well. This is a pretty hefty system, so it won't be out of the ordinary to hear some thunder snow in the area. Let me point out here on the weather radar what we are seeing here. Look at these heavy snowfall rates. This is a very dark pink, and what that indicates is that heavier snowfall. This stretches along the entire Sierra Nevada spine here. And even coming in, here's that thunder snow that I was talking about that is a possibility due to just how dynamic this system is. And the heavy snowfall that's coming from that, it's not surprising to see where we have that lightning happening in a heavier snowfall rate. So this is across I-80 here. This is Donner Pass. We've got the heavier snowfall happening here. This is tomorrow night. And this is where we're also going to be seeing those snow levels drop. So as that colder weather moves in, the lower elevations of the mountains are going to start seeing more and more snow as it picks up over the next 24 to 48 hours. So we're going to be seeing some heavier snowfall at lower levels as well. So those of you who even live here or are traveling there, think about that too, because this isn't just a today thing. This is a through the weekend thing. Let's take a look at Saturday as well. As we move forward in time into the weather radar, still some very heavy snowfall rates. However, we're going to start seeing a clearing happen. Finally, by late Saturday night into Sunday morning, yes, we've still got this heavy snowfall sitting here across the Sierra Nevada spine, but Sunday, let's pull this over to what Sunday looks like. Sunday, we're going to start wrapping up from this storm system as it just has this one last go. And we are finally going to see it move out to the east. This is through entirety of Sunday. So impacts are not going to be as great on Sunday because snowfall rates will lower. As you can see here, we've got the lighter colors and the pink snowfall rates are going down as the storm system does wind down. But digging out happens at this time too. So, you're going to have to, rest up, have plenty of rest when it comes to this area. And those of you who do plan on shoveling or anything like that, please take into account the rest time it takes too, because this is going to be some very heavy, consistent snow, and it's going to be pretty hard to shovel out too all at once. Obviously, 5 to 10 feet of snow does not just go away very quickly. Awesome thing about this though, short term, this is a very severe snowstorm that's happening across the Sierra Nevada. However, long term, this is great for the water amount that's going to be accumulated across the mountains here. So getting into the summertime, the availability of water happening across California is going to be greatly impacted in a positive way from this event as well as the previous events too. We've seen a lot of snow so far this February and as we end today. So long-term effects of this is going to be great for the snowpack in the area to feed reservoirs and things like that. So keep that in mind too for long-term impacts. It's going to be really great. Short-term, it's tough, very tough. So please be sure to mind the weather radar as you're going about your weekend if you are in this area. Those of you who have friends or family in this area, be sure to send them the app. We have plenty of resources in the app that I'm going to show you right now that will help out so that you can get the most information you need at the time you need, and it can be right at your fingertips totally for free. So we've got the task force hub that is ready to go inside the Weather and Radar app. This shows a lot of resources that we have currently. As I pull this up here, a lot of resources that we have currently, so you can find ways to get so we have our YouTube live here. You can go back to that if you need to go back to the information later on. Our latest forecast analysis, our meteorologists are on this as we do go about this event. We're going to be covering this frequently. The weather radar feed, so you can see exactly what it looks like currently. You can turn on your app alerts. Make sure you have your app alerts switched on so you can get those notifications for the heavy snow in the area, for any updates to the forecast as well. And social media, we're posting on all social media platforms that we've got. We've got Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, things like that. So you can find some really interesting information there as well, and some important updates. So we've got all of that on the app as well. I'm going to double check for any questions before I move on here, but thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you all stay safe. This is a very impactful event. We'll be back tomorrow as well, going over the latest forecast for this very impactful event. And we hope to answer any questions that you do have as it continues. Thank you all so much for joining me, and stay safe.